This news update is brought to you by
Grab somebody and tell them hello. Your happiness will be connected to flow. Smile and cheer because that is we flow. Grab somebody and tell them hello. With your hands in the air, hands in the air, hands in the air, hands in the air. This is how we flow, yeah. Grab somebody and tell them this is how we flow. Your happiness will be connected to flow.
This is the Barbados Today afternoon news update for Friday, July 31st. Thank you for joining us. I am Mary-Claire Williams. Representatives of the Social Partnership are at this hour meeting in an attempt to bring an end to the economic, labor and other challenges currently facing the island. At the start of talks at the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Centre, the chairman of the Barbados Private Sector Association, Alex MacDonald, said there was no room for finger-pointing. He made it clear that the focus of the private sector was to discuss and clarify the common objectives of each of the social partners, and he is hoping they could agree and implement the best possible solutions to keep the island on a sound footing.
There is no room here for recriminations and finger-pointing, as nothing is built other than fear and distrust in that environment. In that light, our BPSA has committed itself to this meeting of the partners today to maintain our commitment to what we see as the foundation principles that first brought us to the social partnership as a concept. They are meaningful dialogue, respect, and trust. As we meet on the eve of Emancipation Day, we're reminded of our past and more specifically those ordinary Barbadians who were brave enough and determined enough to make a difference in our nation, even against great odds.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Frendel Stewart says he's looking forward to a civilized discussion on all the issues on the agenda. Stewart pointed out that there have been a number of changes and challenges in the past that the tripartite body has had to work together to overcome. And he said he's hoping the 22-year-old partnership will continue to respond to the changes taking place. Today's meeting comes on the heels of several industrial relations disputes in the last few months. President of the Congress of Trade Union and Staff Association, Cedric Merle, says a legal approach is necessary to address those issues, but he noted it should not allow the process for discussions to be brushed aside.
And I think that some of the issues that have stirred us over the last few months assure me that there is a creeping legalism in terms of how we perceive things. Now, one understands that the voluntaristic nature of what we have done in the past may not always serve us well. And indeed, we have been complicit as Labour in seeking to have a legalistic framework in place. Acknowledging that, what it says is that we have to find the delicate balances to go forward between understanding that we must meet, dialogue, discuss, and seek those agreements that we can before we go to the legalistic approach.
Finance Minister Chris Sinckler is expected to meet again with trade unions representing customs officers next month to resolve all outstanding grievances that led to a 2-month go-slow by customs officers. The workers were protesting the issuance of option forms for the planned transfer to the Barbados Revenue Authority. Following a meeting with Sinckler last night, the unions agreed to end the industrial action and the option forms were withdrawn. Sinckler says he is hoping that all outstanding issues will be settled at next month's meeting.
There are one or two juggernaut issues that need to be addressed with a verdict in relation to appointments, issues in relation to securing all of the pension rates of persons, issues pertaining to supersession and the raised by the union that are being addressed by the chief personnel officer. These are issues that are critical. And as I've always said, we don't want people to go into the BRA in a disgruntled form to disrupt, so to speak, the operations of the BRA. That would not be in the best interest of the organization. So we want to ensure that everybody is as comfortable as humanly possible, knowing that we can't get total and ideal comfort for everything.
Police have given notice that law enforcement officers will show zero tolerance for revelers who invade masquerade bands on Kadooment Day. The warning from Acting Superintendent of Police Bruce Rowe ahead of a weekend of festivities which open with 4-day morning jam tonight.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
www.facebook.com/Barbados Today and enjoy One Love Masha Montano in concert live from Kensington Oval.
CBC is bringing Crop Over your way. Enjoy the color, the sights, and the sounds of the Barbados Crop Over Festival. Simply log on to www.barbadostoday.bb and book your favorite event. For just $25 or 51 Barbados dollars each, you can watch Soco Royale or Piccadilly Crop Finals. And for just $10 or 21 Barbados dollars, overseas viewers can watch Grand Kadooment. Be in the festival. Log on to www.barbadostoday.bb and book now. With CBC and Barbados Today, Crop Over is only a click away.
Got it in my hand, yeah. My Barbados, my babe. Got to understand, yeah. My Barbados, my babe. Ain't nothing like a cool bank spare. None of them others just can't compare. You just got to love that taste. It's a world-class thing this land makes. Whether I'm cruising or at a bar, whether I'm at home, my bank spare is never far. For this blessing, got to give God thanks. My Barbados, my banks.
A former government minister in Guyana has been charged with the use of threatening language. It comes days after another former government minister appeared in court on charges of the illegal transfer of state vehicles. Royston Drakes of Capital News reports.
In this photo obtained by Capital News, the former Health Minister Dr. Barry Ramsaran was showing the peace sign while leaving the Wim Magistrate Court. He was called before Magistrate Caroline Artiga to answer to the charge of using insultive language against women's rights activist Charlene Nagir. Ramsaran, who is also on the PP list to head the Parliament, was released on self-bail after pleading not guilty to the charge. Attorney at law Adrian Anamaya, who is representing his interests, requested that the prosecution's statement is made available to them. The request was granted. The matter was adjourned to September 21st. The Director of Public Prosecution, Shalimar Ali Haq, has recommended that criminal charges be filed against Ramsaran after almost 3 months after the incident occurred. The former minister got himself in hot water at Wim when he was heard on tape threatening to slap the activist and have women strip her. He was part of a group of PP protesters protesting the private charges filed against former President Barra Jagdeo by attorney at law Christopher Ram. It was said that Jagdeo used remarks which were considered racially divisive.
The Israeli government is describing as an act of terrorism an arson attack by suspected Jewish settlers on the West Bank that killed an 18-month-old Palestinian boy. His parents, brother, and another child were injured when a firebomb was thrown into the house. We get more in this report from the BBC.
As the Palestinian family slept inside, firebombs were thrown into their home. Father, mother and 4-year-old Ahmad managed to get out with horrible burns, but they and their neighbours in the village of Douma couldn't save Ali Saad Dawabsha, 18 months old. Israeli settlers have been blamed. The attackers sprayed the word revenge in Hebrew on a wall under the Star of David. The Israeli security forces say they will track down the attackers. Israel's Prime Minister called the attack an act of terrorism in every respect. Around his small grave, hundreds of people have been mourning 18-month-old Ali at his funeral, amid fears this murder could provoke further violence.
Beijing has been chosen to host the 2022 Winter Olympics. The announcement was made by President of the International Olympics Committee, Thomas Bach. Beijing becomes the first city to host both the Summer and Winter Games. The Chinese capital hosted the Summer Games in 2008. And that's the news. For more news, log on to www.barbadostoday.bb Also subscribe to our e-paper and email updates and like us on Facebook. You can also catch us on Izumi Media in bus terminals and Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. Also tune in to Channel 101 on Line TV or Mix 96.9 FM. I am Maricla Williams. Good afternoon.
Our valued partners for the BT Cropover Superstar Competition: Flow, Banks, the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc., Izumi Media, and Liberty Store.